What if the most unstoppable force in NBA history wasn't a scorer, wasn't a defender, and wasn't even the go-to guy in the clutch? What if the key to unlocking a dynasty wasn't in flashy handles or gravity-defying dunks, but in the silent blueprint between the two? For decades, we've been told that basketball is a game of stars and scorers. But what if the most critical role on the court is the one nobody talks about? Before we dive into the incredible evolution of this role, this is Dribbler Drunker. Back in the early days of the NBA, the game was defined by clear-cut roles. Big men dominated the paint, guards controlled tempo, and wings were primarily there to finish plays. Centers like Wilt Chamberlain and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar didn't pass much. They didn't have to. The offense revolved around them. Guards were floor generals, orchestrating set plays. The game moved like a machine, predictable but effective. But as time wore on, teams began realizing something subtle. Space matters, timing matters, and sometimes the biggest play isn't a fadeaway jumper or a thunderous dunk. It's a screen set half a second early, a handoff with just the right angle, a cut that clears space for a shooter. These are the moments that don't make highlights but win games. That's where the dribble dunker comes in. Not quite a center, not quite a guard, someone who exists in the in-between, someone who doesn't need the ball to dominate the game. In today's NBA, almost every elite offense relies on motion, spacing, and decision-making. But those things can't happen unless you have a player who understands the geometry of the court better than anyone else. Someone who can set a ghost screen and slip to the rim. Someone who can read two defenders at once and make the pass before the help defense even arrives. Someone who can absorb contact, switch onto a quicker guard, then rotate weak side to contest a shot, all in one possession. Take Draymond Green. He might never lead the league in scoring, but his fingerprints are all over every Golden State championship. He initiates offense, anchors defense, and makes reads that only elite point guards can make. His IQ is off the charts, and his willingness to sacrifice for the team makes him invaluable. And while Curry gets the credit, and deserves it, Draymond is the engine behind the system. Look at Bam Adebayo. Miami runs much of their offense through him at the elbow. He's not just setting screens, he's dribbling, probing, passing, and scoring when needed. On defense, he can guard anyone from a point guard to a center. His ability to short roll into space and hit a cutter is what unlocks Miami's offense, especially in high-pressure playoff moments. And then there's Domantas Sabonis. In Sacramento, he's not just a big man, he's the offensive hub. The Kings' dribble handoff game revolves around him, creating constant motion and confusion for defenses. Sabonis isn't the flashiest, but his ability to keep the offense humming with quick decisions and smart movement makes him the heartbeat of their system. These players share one thing in common. They operate in the margins. They aren't primary scorers. They aren't lockdown defenders in the traditional sense. But they do a little of everything, and they do it better than almost anyone. In fact, if you strip away the stats and just look at on-court impact, these players consistently rank among the most valuable. Why? Because they make the players around them better. They open lanes. They buy time. They manipulate the defense without ever needing to dominate the ball. Even in international play, this role is gaining importance. Teams like Spain and Serbia have long valued bigs who can pass and move. Nikola Jokic might be an MVP, but his game is still built around the principles of a dribble dunker. Vision, movement, and unselfishness. He's just elevated the role to an elite scoring level too. And young players are noticing. In AAU circuits and high school gyms, the idea of being a connector is starting to catch on. Coaches are looking for players who understand spacing, who move without the ball, who communicate on defense, and who can make the pass that leads to the assist. It's not just about being flashy anymore. It's about being effective. Because basketball is a rhythm, a pattern. And sometimes the best dancers are the ones keeping the beat, not stealing the spotlight. The rise of this role also exposes something deeper. The NBA is evolving past positions. We're no longer living in a world of point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center. That's outdated. Now it's creators, finishers, connectors, defenders, spacers. And sometimes, a single player fills multiple of those roles, depending on the possession. That's why the dribble dunker is so valuable. They give coaches flexibility. They make schemes more dynamic. They turn broken plays into opportunities. They might not be the face of the franchise, but they are the mind behind the madness. And fans are starting to catch on. Watch any high-level breakdown, and you'll hear analysts praising the screen assist, the hockey assist, the help rotation that saves a defensive possession. These moments, once overlooked, are now the focus of the smartest minds in the game. And they all point back to this emerging archetype, the in-between guy, the one who does everything without needing the credit. This player might not sell the most jerseys, they might not be featured in commercials or signature shoe lines, but their teammates know, their coaches know, the front office knows, and increasingly, the fans know too.
Because winning in today's NBA isn't just about who scores the most, it's about who makes it all work.
So when you watch your next game, pay attention to the one who moves without the ball, who calls out switches, who sets the screen that frees up the star. The one who plays the game like a chess master, always 3 moves ahead. That's the dribble dunker. They're not just a role, they're a revolution. For more deep dives into the hidden roles reshaping basketball, the unsung heroes behind dynasties, and the future of the game, don't forget to subscribe to Dribbler Drunker.